Hello students of class 7. Today I'm going to repeat the poem Shivi for you. Some of you have done the classes, some of you were not able to. So this poem is a very small poem, but it's very relevant to you all because I'm very sure that you can associate yourself with the poem. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin the poem Shivi. This poem has been written by Michael Rosen, and this poem generally means that it's about how grown-ups are always nagging little children to do something when they are not feeling like it. That is, if you're not feeling like studying, your parents are continuously asking you to study, then you might feel a little bit irritated. Okay, moreover, there are certain other aspects of it which does not gel well with the young people, okay, or children of your age. So this poem gets you to the middle of that. Well, Michael Rosen had a very personal experience in his life, and probably he uses that same experience to draw comparisons between a child's life, okay, and that of a grown-up. Let us see. So you see, it is already given in your book that when Michael was 5 years old, his mother took him to your nearby school for admission, and when he was asked, what does your mother call you at home? That means the person just wanted to know his name, his nickname, or just what name is used for calling him. Michael replied, it is Michael Don't. That is, it came the confident reply, as if all the time her mother was telling him, Michael, don't do that, don't do that. So whenever his name was being uttered by his mother, it was followed by the word don't. So the little boy, Michael, probably thought that his name is Michael Don't. So this tells you a very funny thing which happened to Michael when he was a very little kid. And anyway, most probably he used the experience in his own life to write this very funny yet very relevant poem about nagging persons, okay, nagging children. To Shivi means to continuously urge someone to do something. That means suppose you have not cleaned your room, but all things considered, you do understand that the grown-ups do those kind of things for your betterment and for making you a better person, right? But still, all these bigger ideals doesn't seem so good because you feel actually irritated. And this is something all children feel at some point in their life, right? So this means that you have to understand the poem from your own viewpoint, okay? So it means to continuously urge someone to do something, often in an annoying way. Annoying way, that means something which causes annoyance in the person, even then going on nagging that person, okay? So let us begin the poem. Grown-ups say things like, speak up, don't talk with your mouth full, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose. So the first stanza tells you all the things that the grown-ups don't let you do. Like, don't talk with your mouth full. This is number one. Don't stare. That is, when your mouth is full of food, you shouldn't talk. You shouldn't do any talking, right? The reason for that, I think all of you know about it, right? Because if you talk with your mouth full, you might get some piece of food in your, towards your breathing pipe, and that might cause a little bit of problem, right? While breathing, you might even choke. So whatever the reason might be, this is something the parents or the grown-ups ask you not to do. So all the four things are preceded by the word don't. So mark them. Okay, the first thing is not to talk with your mouth full, then not staring. Staring means to look continuously at some person. That means without any understanding, if you are simply staring at something for a long time, it just means that you are daydreaming, okay? Your mind is not actually there. So that is what a grown-up asks you not to do, okay? Then don't point. That means don't put your fingers towards something and point. You shouldn't point. Next is don't pick your nose. You shouldn't pick your nose. Okay, that's a bad habit for everybody. So the grown-ups also ask children not to pick their nose. The next stanza tells you good behaviors which are taught by grown-ups and how they are always conveyed in a negative fashion, right? Instead of saying it in a positive manner, the grown-ups generally say these things in a negative manner, preceding with the word don't or no. That tells you that this negative manner is always telling you that it's kind of like a command. Okay. Sit up, say please, less noise. All the words, each of the lines are commands in itself. The first one is sit up. Sit up means don't droop, but sit straight. Okay, you shouldn't droop. You should sit straight. Say please. That is, whenever you want something, whenever you are asking something, you should say please. Less noise. Make less noise. Shut the door behind you. That is, when you are leaving a room, you should shut the door behind you. Don't drag your feet. That is, while walking, many children and even adults also, have seen many adults having the same habit. That is, they drag their feet while walking, making a very irritating sound. Okay, that is, instead of walking properly, they drag their feet. Right, so the grown-ups instruct the children not to drag their feet while walking. Haven't you got a hanky? That is, you shouldn't use your shirt sleeve or your dress sleeve for wiping your mouth or for wiping your nose. You should use a hanky or a handkerchief. So this is another thing which a grown-up says. Take your hands out of your pocket. Don't keep your hands inside the pocket. Take it out of the pocket. Pull your socks up. That is, pull your socks up. Make the socks look proper. Pull your socks up. Stand up straight. So each of the lines in each of the stanzas are actually commands. They are actually the way grown-ups nag children. Okay, so all the different lines, they are not connected. All of them are equally important. All of them are equal. They have equal strength of, that means they are all commands. They are all orders, or they are all instructions and things which grown-ups continuously tell the children to do. All these things, each of the lines. So stand up straight. Say thank you. Don't interrupt. When you get something, you should say thank you. You should not simply accept it. You should say thank you. So teaching good behavior, instructing a child how to behave properly in the company of others, all these things look like a shivi for a young child. Okay, for a young child, it seems as if the grown-up, it may be parents, maybe an older sibling, maybe somebody else, they are always nagging. Okay, it seems to them. Don't interrupt. That is, when we are having a discussion, maybe the grown-ups are having a discussion, the child goes and says something, so he or she is reprimanded. Look up the word in the dictionary and let me know what you think. Okay, reprimanded. So they are reprimanded. They are said, don't interrupt. Do not come when we are having a discussion or we are in the middle of some kind of activity. No one thinks you are funny. Take your elbows off the table. If a child makes a joke, the grown-ups might say, no one thinks you are funny, just to say that your jokes do not have anything fun in them, so stop joking, stop fooling around. Take your elbows off the table. This is another thing. While you're having your food, if you keep your elbows on the table while eating, it's considered to be a bad manner. Okay, especially more appropriate for the Westerners, because in their country, eating on the table is more common than in here. In here, still some of us eat on the floor, right? But in their country, eating on the table is part of a custom. For all the kinds of meal that they have, they sit on the table, that is, they sit on the chairs, they sit in front of the table and they have their meal. So if you place your hand on the table, it's considered to be bad manner. You should sit straight and you should keep your hands off the table and simply eat from the plate, okay, without keeping your elbows on the table. So this is another mannerism which is being corrected by the grown-ups. Can't you make your mind up about anything? That is, can't you make up your mind? Can't you decide for yourself? So the last sentence is actually a bit ironical to the rest of it, because if you are continuously instructing your child, instructing whoever is younger than you, all the time, all the things that he or she should do, then after all these things happens, there is somebody who is continuously being instructed from the morning till the night how to lead their life. Then after all these things is done, how can you expect that somebody to make up their mind about anything? Because they become dependent on their grown-ups to give them the next instruction, right? So the last line is like a bit mockery of the entire poem, as if even after scolding the child for doing a lot of things, instructing the child how to behave in the society, if the parent expect them, or if the grown-up expect them, the grown-up can even be a teacher. Okay, so we are also not out from the gunpoint, right? Not just your parents, the teachers are also part of those grown-ups who chivvy you most of the time. Then at the end of saying all these things, if you expect a child to have their own decision, to make up their mind on things, then it's kind of it does not happen, right? Because if you do not let a child be themselves, then they do not develop the thinking power or the thinking ability, right? So the entire poem tells you how a grown-up is continuously reprimanding a child, okay, continuously telling them what to do, continuously annoying them with little bits of mannerisms which probably they do not follow in their life, right? So this poem is quite funny, and it's quite funny and quite relevant to you. So I hope you enjoyed the poem, and if you have any difficulty, do ask me in my next class. Thank you, students.